I want to explain to you what I think is important when you get a new horse, of what you should do. When I first get my horse, you know, everybody's all excited and they want to get on him and ride him and they want to do this and do that. And a lot of times people don't have success with that, and I'm going to try to explain to you what you need to do with a new horse. So let's imagine here that you just bought this horse and you just brought him home. What do I do? Well, I think the first thing you should do is, now this is if you bought the horse from me, okay? Now if you buy one out in somebody's backyard or at the sale barn or somewhere, that's a whole different subject. Proceed with caution there. But if you buy a horse that's been prepared properly by someone that's a horseman that knows how to prepare a horse, what you have to do is get that horse to accept you and to trust you like he's trusted me, all right? So most horses are going to be very skeptical of a new person because they've been in their lifetime around people that sometimes weren't so reliable. So when you first get a horse, you got to earn that horse's trust. So the first step would be, I tell people, put that horse in the cross ties and you get you a nice stiff brush and you cover every inch of his body. You brush that horse until he's dropped his head and he's about asleep, okay? That's a good way for a horse to accept you as a trustworthy companion. So don't get on his back. I don't care if you get $50,000 for him, don't get on his back. Brush him. Then you take the horse out there and you get your horseman's rope and you lunge that horse and you get that horse to where he's responding to you, and you can watch some of my other videos on how to do that, okay, if you don't know how to do it. But get that horse to where he's receptive to your signal, to move in a circle and to stop and transition, and do that in hand first. And then what I'd recommend you do is put your saddle on. Make sure your saddle fits. If you put your saddle on him and he's switching his ears and his eyes are bright, might tell us that that saddle's not fitting right. So you want to make sure your saddle angles are correct and all that's in place. You want to make sure he's got a bit that he's used to. You know, if you put a bit that's totally foreign to him, that's all going to be new. So, you know, step one, earn trust. Step two, make sure you have a smooth transition from where he's come from. Make sure he's being handled the same way he was where he came from. You know, so many times people try to shuffle the deck on a horse and then they have no success. You know, they've got some horse trainer person in the barn that's beating on him with a crop and forcefully riding him with a heavy hand and trying to collect him up mechanically, and the horse doesn't like it and he's not accustomed to that. Well, don't call me if you shuffle the deck on him, because you know the horse is trying to tell you that he's not very comfortable with what you're doing. So think about all that stuff. He's got feelings and he's got a system that he's accustomed to. Make sure that you have a smooth transition. Do your part. And another thing I recommend on his vaccinations, just vaccinate him and boost vaccine to whatever you give in your region. If your vet comes out and says they do West Nile and they do this and they do that and they do whatever, do it. You do whatever he gave other horses in your neighborhood. And I deworm him. Even if I dewormed him last week, deworm him again. And start out on a fresh note. And you know, with that, I mean, just learn to read your horse and develop a relationship with him. And if you do that, it'll pay off. You will have a treasure.